Growing your variation is one of the few time-tested strategies to grow on Amazon. It is a strategy that I myself highly recommend. The more variation you launch means more choices for the customer that could potentially give you a higher conversion rate overall on a parent level versus a single variation listing. But what is often not talked about is that what is the best practice for advertising for many variations. In this video, I will talk about advertising and optimizing for variation in your Amazon PPC. If this topic interests you, stay tuned. I'm Rick Wong, an Amazon seller and also founder of SellerMetrics, an Amazon marketing agency. If you are interested in content such as this one, where we talk about the latest Amazon FBA news, tips, and hacks, I invite you to subscribe. Okay, now, with Amazon PPC optimization, we always talk about optimizing for the bids, optimizing for the search terms, negatives, but often not forgot is like optimizing for ads or the variation in your listing, right? And if you guys see this particular screen right here of a typical Amazon advertising account where a seller is actually selling a lot of variation under their main listing, right? A lot of times you can see that they put all their variation under the ads in a particular campaign. I actually came to this conclusion slowly. At first, I actually did the same thing as an Amazon seller. I bunched everything together, right? But now that I know how the parent and child data works, basically, your overall BSR is on a parent level. So your overall ranking is on a parent level, right? So all the data you push into your child or variation listing gets pushed up to your overall BSR. So it makes sense that you make sure the traffic that you give it and the SKU that performs the best get the most visibility, right? Because then that means that your overall parent level ranking BSR will be the most optimal, right? Hence, you want to make sure that in your Amazon PPC, you are putting ad spend to the variation that is doing the best for you, right? And later I will show you how you actually analyze for your asin that is doing the best. So this way that you are making sure all your ad spend budget is going toward this so-called hero variation, right? And making sure that you are not putting ad spend on variation that is not performing as well for you to that hero variation. Okay, so basically, I think I just kind of touch on it. Basically, what you're trying to do with optimizing for variation is that you just want to make sure that you are funneling all your ad spend to the ads, right, that are performing well compared to one that is performing not as well, right? Because at the end of the day, you just want people to enter into your parent and child variation. It doesn't matter how they enter, right? They could enter through your blue variation, red variation, white variation. The key thing is for them to enter to your main listing as efficiently as possible. So how do you actually analyze and actually find your most efficient or your hero variation? So in your Amazon PPC account, you are going to go to your measurement and reporting. You're going to go to your sponsor ads report. And then within your sponsor ads report, right, you're going to go to create report. So most of the time, you're probably going to select a sponsor product. This is assume that this is the majority of the campaign that you are advertising for. And then you can select advertise product. So this would give you the analysis on asin level, right? A particular child asin level. Run the report. After it's finished, you're going to download it. I already have it pre-download here. So you can see it's the actual report right here. It shows you by campaign and also reported by the specific asin. So here you're just gonna create a pivot table and do some analysis. Okay, so you can see like this particular pivot table for my sponsored product advertised product report. So I've segregated by the advertised asin, right? And I also make sure that I filter for the related campaigns of the parent and child listing that I want to analyze. The three metrics that you really want to analyze to figure out what is your hero variation would be your CTR, CVR, and also ACoS, right? So sometimes the information, as you can see on the screen, sometimes it's not that clear cut as to which one is the clear favorite. Sometimes like the metrics contradict each other, but you need to prioritize by two key metrics. And that is the CTR and also conversion rate, not the ACoS, because ACoS is also like affected by price, right? With price, it's all interrelated, right? But you need to look at the metrics in a more holistic level and not just look at just a one single particular metrics. So that's why I'm choosing 3. So with CTR, that would be your clicks, so D3 divided by B3. And the conversion rate would be E, so E would be the orders, right? E3 divided by the clicks, so that would be D3. And then ACoS, that would be spend, C3 divided by sales, so that would be F3. So that would be here, right? That would be the column right here. It's nicely formatted to percentage. So you can see this one right here is a clear CTR favorite. It becomes really clear, right, that this variation right here does majority of the sale. At the same time, CTR is really high, right? And also conversion rate is high, and also ACoS is relatively low, right? Sometimes you don't want to pick the ACoS that is like the lowest because you're not that confident about it. So you can see this one, the CTR is low. It's much lower, but then again, the CTR is lower than versus the first one right here, right? So you can see that not only the fact that it makes a lot of sales, the CTR is really high, the conversion rate is above average, it seems, and also the ACoS seems average. And another metrics that you want to look at is cost per click as well. If to basically confirm whether this is like the most optimal variation to use in your advertising. So normally the most optimal ads to use or variation to use has like a relatively low CPC. That's because on Amazon algorithm, it's a trusted variation, it's trusted ad. A lot of times this hero asin, it might be the first product you launch because it has the most data, right? Amazon has the most data on it. And this is reflected on the cost per click and also the conversion rate stats. So it would be spend here. So that was C3 divided by D3. So you have your cost per click here. Not the lowest cost per click, but it's like within average. One thing that is interesting in this, I think I'm willing to test like different variation because their stat looks pretty decent and has like decent statistical significance to suggest to me that it's worth testing, right? So you can see like this one right here, the one that is like getting most of the ad spend, the cost per click seems like a bit high, right? Like 1.05. So maybe what you can potentially do, go for a one that has like a decent CTR, high conversion rate, and also a cost per click that is lower than this one that you're currently funneling a lot of ads to. But then again, it's a little risky to do this because you're actually making a lot of sales for this particular asin, right? So in my estimation, I do think that to make things a bit more safe and making sure that you continue making sell without further disruption, I suggest that, making this one becomes our hero variation. And what you will need to do at this point, right, after you figure out what your hero variation is to find this particular variation. So that would be this one right here, and shut down, basically pause all the rest of the variation, right? So this way you make sure all your ad spend goes to the variation that that performs for you on a consistent basis and has a very good overall metrics. Okay, so you see like you shut down all the rest of like the SKUs. So when should you advertise for the rest of the asins, right? Basically what I'm saying in this particular video is that if you find your hero asin, make sure that you funnel all your advertising on your main campaigns to this particular hero variation. But for the rest of variation, if you really decide to want to take over market share versus your competitor, you may want to create a separate campaign for the rest of the variation. This way you could actually take more real estate on the Amazon search result. Because as we know, each particular campaign and ads will only give you one slot on the Amazon search result. But if you actually advertise 2 campaigns on same keyword, on a different ad, on a different campaign, you could appear on the same real estate as your hero variation, right? Case in point, if I were to search for right? If you were to advertise for one campaign, you only show up like here, right? Just one slot. But if you actually be able to advertise 2 campaigns on 2 ads for maybe number 1, first your hero variation and rest of variation, if you actually advertise for the same keywords, you could potentially show up on multiple placements, right? Within the search results, right? So that is one of the ways that I would go about it if you really want to like take market share and advertise for your variations that is not your hero variations. Okay, so that's basically it. So that's basically how you optimize for your ads or variation. If you want to really lower your ACoS, making sure that you only funnel all your traffic to your hero variation, and for the rest of the variation, you could either not advertise for them because the traffic coming from the hero variation will basically filter into your rest of the variation, and you'll get your sales that way. The other option, if you really want to grow your market share, you could like advertise for the rest of the variation in a separate campaign. Anyways, I hope that this video shows you that there's actually a lot of levers to pull and a lot to look at when you're actually looking for additional improvement in your ACoS in your Amazon advertising, besides the standard optimization that I detailed previously. This type of analysis is also a key part of our free Amazon PPC audit. And if you are looking for Amazon management service and also the audit that I just mentioned, if that is something that interests you, feel free to book a discovery call with me on the link below. Until the next video drop, happy selling.